This one's going to be fun. This is now the third time I've tried to record this video, and you shouldn't be worried. It's just minor annoyances with the code lab, plus toddlers screaming in the background. So let's get going. This is going to be a fun one, fun in quotes, as always, where we build a SlackBot using Node.js with Docker, and we're going to tie in Cloud Build and Cloud Run. Now, the purpose of this is to basically have a nifty little bot that you can chat with in your Slack channels. You could also do this for Discord or whichever messaging platform you like that supports some kind of a scriptable bot, honestly. And again, you don't necessarily have to do Twitch or not Twitch, Slack, Discord, any kind of bot-like interaction. This could be any kind of a web-based API that you talk to, where you're sending messages to and from a thing on the internet. Here we're going to do it as a something to basically respond with emojis. You could have it go and look at the Google Knowledge Graph if you want to do like search queries or Google Translator, anything that you would want to talk to a bot about. Heck, maybe just have it track levels of your users and give them little special roles in your channel if you want when they level up enough or something of that nature. Anyway, let's crack on here. So I'm actually going to start this from scratch before, just so that you know of the history that you're never going to see here. I did a lot of pre-setup type of stuff with this lab. I created the channel, I created the bot, I did everything off screen, and then we just got up and running with it, and it just did not work at the end. So if you do run into problems with this lab, try it again from scratch and follow the directions in the code lab very, very carefully because there are some little fine gotchas along the way, and sometimes it's hard to kind of figure out what that gotcha is. And once you've done this lab, I think I've done this now 4 times. I still don't know what the problem was, but it did end up working, starting from scratch from a clean slate. So that's where we are going to start here. Anyway, what you see here on the left is the code lab. On the right is the Slack API, as well as my Cloud Shell. I've got open. Actually, see if I can scoot this over just. Actually, let's do it right here. So we have a new line. That's nice. We'll leave it like that. Okay, so we have our shell. We have our code lab. We're going to pop back and forth between the Slack configuration page, and some things will happen off screen. You don't need to see my token or my secrets for the bot, but be aware, this is what we'll be doing here. So, setup and requirements for the lab. You obviously need to have a project. You need to have billing enabled, all the usual stuff that they build into these code labs because not everybody is, using these in a course. Some people are just using them as one-offs. So we should already be well set, but you should see your project here, so on and so forth. We're going to leave our zone off because later it will ask us for a zone. You can set your zone here if you would like. We're just going to stick with central for this lab. Okay, so first actual step, create a Slack workspace. Now this is the one thing that I have already done. If I can find it here in my list of 30 million things that are open. So I created a sample workspace. I will delete this after the lab is done, so don't expect it to be here. I've got a few channels. Let's create a, oh, we have that. Let's create a new channel just to have a cloud demo. So I'm going to create a new channel so it's kind of a nice, fresh, clean slate for you all to see. So cloud demo, nothing here. This is just a basic Slack channel. This is just a basic Slack channel. Hi, nothing happens. Something will happen later. But that's what we've got going on here. So Slack Workspace does exist. And if you are not familiar with Slack, it is easy enough. Create a Slack account. You have a link to create your workspace. There's actually one right here if you haven't done that. And again, I already have one created, but I'm not going to go through the rigmarole again of that. But where we are going to start with is with the Slack user. So what I'm going to do is actually do it over here so that we see these two interfaces on the same page. I'm not covering anything up. Okay. So basically I've clicked to this link. I'm going to create an app. This says create a new app, but wording has slightly changed from the guide to where we are at now. I don't know what that pop-up's for. I'm going to call this Cloud Run Bot Test. You name it KittenBot if you wanted to follow the code web directly, but I am going to make it look slightly different. I'm going to pick my workspace that I created, and I'm going to create the app. Okay, so now I basically have a construct for a bot in Slack that I now need to basically customize. So I'm going to actually, let's see here, at home. So we're kind of getting into the point where I'm going to go off screen for a moment, and you're not going to see any of my OAuth tokens or secrets. Basically, what's going to happen here is that I'm going to give the bot chat write permissions. So if I click review scopes to add, I'm going to add an OAuth scope for the bot tokens. And I'm going to add chat write. Okay. And I'm going to save. Just trying to make sure that there's nothing here that you don't need to see yet. Okay. Eventually, there's going to be a token and a secret popping up on screen. I wanted to make sure that didn't pop up for all of you. But I have now added the correct scope. This basically gives the bot the ability to send messages on the channel. Later on, we're going to add the ability for it to read message history, read direct messages, things of that nature. But once I click install to workspace here, the bot's going to pop up in my workspace channels, and I'm going to start seeing tokens and secrets. Now, tokens and secrets, if you are not familiar with the OAuth paradigm, basically this is a way for handling authentication and authorization in a web-based environment. Great for web applications, like Slack, like Discord. Basically, it's a way to have a bot programmatically log into an application. And if you do a lot of Google stuff, you're going to see discussions about program flows, and those are basically kind of nice wrappers around OAuth doing logging in and logging out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut right here. I'm going to install this to my workspace, do some stuff off screen, where basically I'm going to export my bot token, export my signing secret. This is going to happen in my Cloud Shell. So I'm going to do something like export bot token equals. Then I'm going to copy and paste my token. I'm going to copy and paste my signing secret and for the other one, and those will be environment variables available to my scripts for the current session. So I'm going to cut right now. I'll be back in a moment after I do that, and away we go. Okay, so I have now done that off screen. I basically created the two environment variables. Again, follow that to get the token and the signing secret. Make sure you pick the correct ones. And now if I would do something like echo $bots token, I tabbed after I hit BO. It auto-filled it in, so I know this variable exists. I'm not going to dump it to the screen, otherwise I would have defeated the purpose of the cut. Likewise, signing secret we have. So now I'm going to enable the API for a secrets manager, and what this is doing here is we are ensuring, so I'm going to basically copy and paste these in and talk. So first I'm going to give my service account the ability to interact with the secrets manager. And what the secrets manager is a service that handles your tokens and your secrets for web APIs, and you can use other things with it as well. But basically this takes the effort of you having to secure your secured login account information and putting it into basically like a KeePass type of system where it is secured by Google in this case. And you can decide how you feel about Google managing your tokens separately from the class. But for here, why we're doing this is that if you look at open source projects like things on GitHub or public subversion repositories or even private ones, people more or less accidentally, sometimes unintentionally, will save tokens and secrets as configuration files. They'll read from them to kick off their application and then it will run. Keep in mind that if you are checking that into source control, there's a good chance that that is publicly available information, and anybody who looks at your repository can say, oh, I have access to this person's bot account now. I can take it over and do what I would like to with it. Not a very good thing for security practices, right? So what this security manager, or sorry, the secrets manager does is it takes that effort away from you, having to worry about that level of security, and it basically bakes it into a Google-based service. So that's all we're really doing here. And if you have accidentally checked in a token and a secret in the past, realize that it probably will still exist in the history of your project. So just checking in a new version won't fix that. You have to delete those actual commits or check-ins or whatever, source control system you're using. So make sure you get rid of those. Anyway, let's make sure that we have the right things in here. Okay. So we have our service account now tied to our secrets manager. And again, if you don't remember service accounts, these are basically user accounts that are set to manage various aspects of your cloud services. Think of it as something akin to creating a user account in either a Windows server or a Linux server where that account is doing one or a set of particular tasks. It's like a machine account type of a thing where it has specific permissions, specific roles, and it's not a actual user, but it's an account that the system recognizes. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take those environment variables we created before, so the spot token and the signing secret, and we're going to put it into that secrets manager. So this is a very Linuxy command. So echo bot token with a flag here. We're going to pipe that into the gcloud secrets command, and basically it's just going to be read in on the command line. So that's going to be set. We're going to do the same with our signing secret. So just copying and pasting, again, interacting with the gcloud command and the secrets parameter, sending in the data there. And then if you want to do a double check to make sure the secret and the token were stored correctly, these last two commands here will basically dump it to the screen. I'm not going to do that since I don't want you to see my token and my secret, but that's just kind of a sanity check for you all there. All right, so next step, get the sample code. I have already done this, and I mentioned I did this a handful of times, and I love this lab. Actually, it's a great lab. I find this one actually kind of fascinating. I'm just grousing because I'm having problems today. Not enough caffeine, I guess. But standard git clone command, so there is a GitHub repository with the code for this. It is a Node.js application that basically just listens for web requests, or sorry, it uses the Slack package, listens for web requests, and then responds to them. So I already pulled this down. So I'm in Cloud SlackBot, so you see that's a repository. I went into the start folder to do a git pull just to make sure that it's up to date, which it is. Life is good. And then we're going to be all set.